We're the key stakeholders and we have a huge responsibility in educating people about caring for water, caring for the land around the water.
The rivers are the veins of the earth. You know how we have veins in our arms? The rivers are the earth's veins, and the water is the blood of the earth. Although some of us would call them tears of the earth.
I like to pass my knowledge on through storylines and songs that I was taught of my old people to the next generation, like to my own kids and my own nephews and nieces and stuff like that. So and get them to understand that why it's important to maintain their cultural link so they can understand who they are.
I'm a Biddigal woman of the Dharawal people. At the present moment I live in Tamor. The river systems did connect all peoples together. Not only peoples who lived on those river systems, but peoples who lived on other river systems. The Hawkesbury and Nepean system, and that includes the Wallandilly River. It's where all the rivers run backwards, and if you look at a map, you can see that the rivers, instead of running straight to the sea, actually run around in a big circle and come out at Broken Bay.
As Aboriginal women, we have a responsibility to come back and revitalise the river, to protect and nurture it back to its best state. Over many years, the river has degenerated because of people using it for dumping rubbish and things like that. So our women would come along to the river traditionally and be sitting there weaving grasses and making mats and dilly bags, and at the same time removing any things that had come downstream.
You're not only trying to maintain your cultural storylines to those rivers, but you're also trying to maintain all the impacts that are happening to those river systems and how those things are impacting on our cultural storylines, and to a point where if we don't preserve them and protect them, they're just not going to be here. And it'd be sad to think that those little animals, like our little billabongs, are gone, and you know, they're things that were here before, and you know, it's good to be able to still go to the river and see those animals if you're lucky.
I really and truly think that our stories are the keys to our science. We learned about the environment, about our country, about everything, about ourselves. We learned it by observation and experience. Now they're the two major bases of science today. These suite of paintings or drawings here are very sort of little, almost like a storyboard, is actually a warning telling you don't go any further. The little Bundi figure, which is in that concave hollow, is a little man holding a huge boomerang, and he's holding the sky up. The next figure across is Migadan, the fish woman, or the mermaid. Now, people usually imagine a mermaid having a top of a woman and the bottom of a fish. This one's different. As you can see, it's got the legs and the hips of a woman. See the fins as feet, and the two legs and the hips of a woman, and the head of a fish. The arms are sort of crossed between fins and an arm, with the fins on the hands. And then the next figure is a man chasing a kangaroo, but they're going that way, which means that there's plenty of food up there, and that's the place to go. There's no danger. Every river has a fish woman who is the mother of all the fish in the river, and there's different stories about them, even right up to Queensland and down to Victoria. I'd love to see her, but she doesn't appear to women. She's only interested in men. Well, wouldn't you be? If you were the only woman in the river? It reminds people that the rivers need caring for, that they need help now because there's so many people to mess them up.
If the land's unhealthy, I'm unhealthy as a person. The land gives me the strength and the spirit to be the person I am, and I draw so much from the country I walk on. If I'm not well, or if I'm going to have an important meeting, I always make sure that I come to country, I look over my country. My whole culture is about this land that we're gathered on and the rivers around it. So it's important for us as Aboriginal people to help protect it, conserve it, and it's our job to ensure that the people that believe they have some sort of connection to it do things that are right by the land. If people start changing the environment, then our culture and our history changes or is lost with it.
I just want to welcome you to my country, to Wiradjuri country. This area here in this landscape, it's the head of the east-west flow. Everything that sort of happens within this landscape here is really important to us culturally, but also environmentally. Because our river is our life source, it's most important to maintain good water quality for our river for not only our storylines, our cultural heritage storylines, but for everything in our environment today, like every plant, animal that lives on the river, the same as us. You're hoping that when you do tell that particular storyline, that, you know, the younger people that you are telling it to, you're hoping that they're capturing the story and they take it away with them, and hopefully they look at, you know, how they value their own life and respect for their old people, and hopefully they take it away and maintain that and respect that value, and then they can continue that respect to the next generation.
The river was an area that Mum, aunties, uncles could bring the children down. Uncles would go off and hunt. The kids could be playing in the water, and aunties would be sharing stories and talking to the kids and educating the kids. If we ever had a problem amongst our people, we'd come down to the river. We'd sit and we'd quietly weave and talk about the problem. And weaving is a very peaceful and harmonising way to be able to do that. So we can bring kids out here, we can show them, and we can allow them to touch things and feel things. Out here is our classroom. There's no point bringing kids out here if there is no classroom. There is no bush tucker, there is no water, there is no healthy plants, there is no native animals. What have they got to see?
It's the women who actually know the rivers more than the men. The men were hunters, and the women were gatherers. The women had a more gentle outlook, and the rivers, as I said, were the lifeblood of the earth, and we recognise that. Yeah.